The seven seals of Revelation. The book of Revelation gives us very few certainties. Since the book was not meant to be interpreted literally, we have been theorizing about it for 2,000 years. Jesus tells us, in Matthew 24, to read Daniel, to better prepare and understand the events that must occur during the tribulation. We will discuss this more in another episode. For now, back to the seven seals. Let us put our history on a timeline. Here begins our history as mankind. This marks the present day, and here is the imminent 7-year tribulation. There are many interpretations regarding the timing of the seals. There are those who believe that some of the seals have already been opened. Others believe that the seals make up the first part of the tribulation, to be followed by the 7 trumpets, and finally the 7 bowls. But we must follow the word. There is very little chronological order to the revelation. For example, Revelation 11 tells us of the 2 witnesses, who have yet to come. Revelation 12 then jumps to Israel, in what appears to be the time Jesus was born. It then jumps back to a time before Adam and Eve, when the devil was cast out of heaven. And then it tells us of a time where the Jews will flee to the wilderness, from the Antichrist, for 3.5 years, which is again a time that is yet to come. From the top, Revelation 1 tells us how Jesus met with John. John is instructed to write down all that is revealed to him. After 7 letters addressed to 7 churches, John is called up to heaven, and to him revealed what will come to pass. He continues to describe God Almighty, his throne, and the worship around the throne. Revelation 5 introduces us to a scroll in the right hand of the Lord. It has writing inside and out, and it is sealed with 7 seals. We learn that only Jesus is worthy of opening the seals, which are to be opened at the time of the end. Since the content of a scroll is only available once all the seals are broken, each seal must represent a phase of the tribulation that is yet to come. The seals are an index of the time of the end, announcing the relevant chapters, characters and events, which will unfold once the scroll is opened. As the first seals are broken, we are introduced to the Antichrist, personified into 4 horsemen, each representing a chapter of his rule on earth. Let us apply the events of the tribulation to a timeline. The first seal reveals a white horse. This horseman carries a crown, and is armed with only a bow. This represents the Antichrist deceiving Israel and the world, by imitating Jesus Christ. He is armed, so he will have the means to conquer with his weapon, yet no mention of ammunition tells us he will conquer peacefully. Daniel tells us the Antichrist will sign a peace treaty with the Jews for 7 years, and that he will break this treaty midway through. On our timeline, this is the only seal of which we know the duration. It is the period of peace he will keep for the first 3.5 years of treaty with the Jews. The second seal reveals a red horse, and the rider wields a large sword with which he will take peace from earth. This represents the war, which will follow once the Antichrist breaks the peace treaty. Matthew and Thessalonians tell us that this will happen after the Antichrist sits in the temple and declares himself God. The Jews will reject him and flee. This is when his brutal pursuit of Jews and Christians will begin. The third seal reveals a black horse, and its rider carries a pair of balances. This represents the lack of basic food, which will result in famine and pestilence, on a scale that the world has never seen. The fourth seal reveals a pale horse, and its rider, who is death personified, and who is followed by hell. This period of the tribulation brings death over a quarter of the earth. At the fifth seal, the martyrs cried to the Lord, pleading for justice, and white robes were given to them. This seal represents the suffering of those who lost their lives during the Great Depression, in service of the Lord, who is waiting to see justice served. They were given white robes, and told that the time is near. The sixth seal refers to the day of the Lord, or simply, Armageddon. In various books of Old and New Testament, the day of the Lord is described. Great earthquake, black sun, red moon, stars falling unto the earth, every mountain and island moved out of their place. Comes to mind scenes of a movie where an asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs. From all of this there is no denying the fact that once this occurs, only a wasteland will remain, and the seventh seal causes heaven to go silent for about half an hour, silence anticipating the scroll finally opened to reveal God's judgment. This is where the 7-year tribulation starts. The signing of the peace treaty with the Jews will mark the start of the tribulation clock. The seventh seal is therefore the beginning of the end.